According to court rulings by the Jerusalem District Court, the Palestinian Authority must pay compensation of NIS 3 million to a trio who helped prevent the murder of Israelis, according to Israeli media on Monday. The trio were imprisoned by the PA after they cooperated with Israel and were abused while in prison. They were beaten with guns, electric cables, and sticks. The PA was ordered to pay huge compensation to the trio who helped to thwart terrorist acts against Israel, according to several rulings handed down at the beginning of this month by Judge Miriam Ilani of the Jerusalem District Court. Each of those who were imprisoned after cooperating with Israeli security is entitled to receive a sum of about 1 million shekels for the severe abuse he suffered by the Palestinian Authority and for being imprisoned for more than 4 years in the basements of the PA. Israeli Arabs hold Palestinian flags as they take part in a Land Day rally, an annual commemoration of the killing of 6 Arab citizens by Israeli security forces in 1976 during protests against land confiscations in Soknin in northern Israel March 30, 2023. Severe torture and abuse. In one of the verdicts, the plaintiff described the abuse he suffered during his imprisonment by the PA. Among other things, he was beaten all over his body with rifles, electric cables, and batons. They were hanged using the El-Shabak method, denied sleep and access to the bathroom, forced to go out naked at night, and poured cold water on him. Another judgment speaks of sleep deprivation, teeth breaking, denial of access to the bathroom, being forced to drink soap, as well as threats to kill his family. Experts who examined those assistants described that they suffer from severe depression and grief as well as having difficulty functioning in social situations. The High Court of Justice ruled in 2021 that the Israeli courts can discuss the question of compensation for Palestinian collaborators who prevented terrorist attacks against Israel for the sake of public policy, a legal concept that allows the court to contain a legal interpretation of a social situation that was not explicitly regulated by law. The ruling states, it is hard to believe that the Israeli courts would recognize a defense that cooperation with Israel is an act of treason in favor of the Israeli enemy, and it must be fought against. What's more, those acts of treason were intended to prevent acts of terrorism against Israel and against Israelis, which the Palestinian Authority pledged to prevent in the interim agreement. Stay updated with the latest news. Subscribe to the Jerusalem Post newsletter. Subscribe now. It was also stated in the verdict that the Israeli courts should not echo a Palestinian narrative that is contrary to public policy in Israel. The Palestinian Authority is entitled to protect its security and act against spies and collaborators, as long as this does not harm Israel's security interests, which left security responsibility in the PA's hands. Attorneys Barak Kedem and Ore Abbas, who represent the collaborators, said, "The events of October 7 taught us about the heavy moral debt we have towards the collaborators who help us in dealing with terrorism. The fact that the court obliged the Palestinian Authority to compensate the collaborators is recognition of their contribution and a distinction between enemy and ally.